young, the higher places made us strong together. Every day we told each other to be friends forever. Mistakes and troubles didn't bring us down. Whoa. Friends and lovers just fooling around. Whoa.
When did you start thinking about climate change, what it means to you and to Ella?
It's been within the past 5 to 7 years because we've noticed a change in seasons, a change in flooding, a change in just the climate and the weather and what it's done to our environment. Just like a day like today, it is extremely hot. The sun is seems to be a lot more prone for her to get sunburned than it would have been, as I say, when I was younger. So we've really paid attention to that in the last 5 to 7 years, I think.
Does Ella have asthma by any chance?
No, she does have a lot of sinus problems and a lot of coughing. That's something she struggled with since she was born. We live on a farm, so with the fall and the spring, we really, in Ohio especially, suffer a lot with sinus problems, which can sometimes contribute to breathing problems and coughing and asthma, but we do have to watch her for her sinuses because of just the quality of the air and the climate.
When did you start thinking about climate change and what does it mean to you? What is it about?
I probably started thinking about climate change in high school when it was brought up with my students, with my co-students, and I didn't think much about it at the time. It really wasn't a concern of mine, and so I just kind of heard about it, heard other people discuss it, but didn't really explore the topic myself. It means a little bit more. I'm more aware of it in how it may affect where I currently live. The locations, but it doesn't mean anything that would be life-changing. I don't think about it from day to day. I kind of think about it if it's brought up in the media or the news, but it doesn't mean a lot to the state of me.
I started thinking about climate change for my 8th grade science project. We had to, for our final project, we had to come up with an alternative source of energy and do a report on it and discuss with other groups why our source of energy was better than the other options and more effective. And so my group focused on solar energy. And so that was when I first started thinking about climate change.
What's your take on it?
I think it's definitely a problem that we need to attack head-on, and I don't think we are taking enough measures to attack the problem. I think people are still caught up in the idea that it's not necessarily true, and they need to look beyond that and start to think about how it's going to affect our future and the way that humanity develops.
What about children and future generations? How are they going to be impacted?
Well, if they still want to have a planet that's inhabitable, then we need to start taking care of our planet. So
Well, I grew up in a generally liberal household, so if it could be brought up, it was brought up, but it was really brought into light when I first took a sustainable agriculture course at my college, and essentially I started to learn about the detrimental effect that we were having on the environment. I believe wholeheartedly that it is in fact a problem, that the burning of fossil fuels and the way that we are currently living is completely unsustainable, and that we will eventually run out of resources, and then we're really in for it. But for future generations, well, I'd really like my kids to see a polar bear, and I feel that would be truly a tragic world if your kids can only look at a polar bear on the pages of some old outdated Nat Geo book.
What about clean energy? What do you think about clean energy?
I like the idea of clean energy. I would like to see clean energy become a beneficial part of our day-to-day where it's actually effective, where you're not spending more money just to get clean energy when it's not profitable. I think the idea is good. I just don't think we're 100% there yet. I think that there's a lot to be done from the little research that I've done.
And although we live inland in Ohio, rising sea levels for your friends and family on the coast, does that worry you? Do you have any friends and family there?
I do. The one thing, just a second, the one thing that we really pay attention to are, the types of storms that occur. The name is slipping my mind right now, but the different types of hurricanes and things that happen in those types of areas. We worry about the sea life in the oceans as well, because it's going to affect them, and it's the chain of life. When the fish are sick and dying, that's eventually going to catch up to us. It affects what we eat. It affects everything around us, the water we drink. So yeah, we're definitely concerned about changes with the ocean and the environment, around the ocean and within the ocean as well.
When we were young, the high